So, creating a proactive capital strategy should be done early, primarily should be thought of before getting into practice or immediately after, and it should consist of understanding the areas in which your capital can and will be deployed and in what measure or metrics they should be. Okay. It is really, really, really critical to first factor in, again, that liquidity component. How much money should I have access to based on my annual expenses, monthly expenses, or payroll? What should be my cash in the bank? Two, we need to understand where my costs should align. We talk about payroll percentage as a relative of collections. We talk about supplies. We talk about insurance reimbursements. We talk about all of these things on a profit and loss statement. I don't know if it's critical for the dentist to know this. It is critical that they're working with people that do. Three, profitability and tax mitigation. When I'm going to use my profits to redeploy into a growth strategy that will typically provide some tax benefits. One of the critical things here is understanding if you make a fairly large purchase, a real estate acquisition, a large piece of equipment, a car, in the next year, if you're not making that same acquisition, your tax consequence is likely going to go up. And if we don't account for that, you might have a very, very significant cash flow disruption the following year. Okay. That's why the team component is really critical. Accountants, your wealth management or financial advice, your consultants, and your attorneys really should act as a board of director because those decisions don't act in a vacuum, right? And if you have a strong capital plan and how you're deploying your money, going through an annual planning process each year on what the next steps are for the year and subsequently each quarter, you're going to put yourself in a position of power to grow confidently and appropriately and be able to manage that growth without massive amounts of stress and large disruption. Okay, so it's an interesting question because I relate this almost to personal finance, which very few people actually do, but I like the terminology. What financial rhythm should a practice take on? What cadence should we be looking in on? You're going to be getting monthly collection reports. That's a good start. Review those collection reports, review your ARs. There should at least be a quarterly check in to talk about the quarterly performance of the practice and the profits. Okay. What that's going to relate to is the 90-day targets that we are using to grow. So a strong practice creates long-term big picture goals, breaks those down into 3-year and ultimately 1-year increments, what needs to be true in order for that long-term goal to hit. And then I have 90-day must-haves in order to hit those goals. When I'm reviewing my monthly cash flow and then quarterly meeting with my team, my accounting team and advisory team, then we can talk about deploying the capital back into these investments to help grow the practice and analyze which investments may not be working and should be cut, reduced, or amended. I think that creates a healthy cash flow and rhythm. And then, of course, a year end, probably longer, more substantive meeting that is aligned with the annual planning and the team.